A drive alongside the removed Englewood Railway, seen from the Nimpkish and Marcuson Main logging roads. There is also a drive down to the shore at Nemkish Lake and a drive through the village of Woss and the logging road just outside of Woss. This drive is in early January 2021 on a very rainy day. The Englewood Railway was located on northern Vancouver Island on the west coast of British Columbia. Here's a map of the railway, here's a closer view, and this video covers the area that I've circled in red. The Englewood Railway was the last operating logging railway in North America, and it operated up until April 2017. In autumn 2017, the owner announced the permanent closure of the railway. Between April 2017 and early 2020, the railway sat idle, doing nothing. The equipment left where it was on the last day of operations. In late 2019, the owner announced the plan to remove the railway, and this railway removal was carried out during 2020. I visited in 2021, and it was early January, rainy season, and the views of the old main line were in some areas a creek, and in some areas looked simply to be like an old logging road. The segments of this video are arranged from north to south as I was driving home from northern Vancouver Island. As I've been editing this video, I realized something. Other than a couple friendly conversations with an Acadian, a great guy, I haven't talked to anyone about the Englewood Railway audibly. I've done lots of emails, I've done Messenger, I've posted back and forth on Facebook groups, but I haven't had a person-to-person conversation. And so when it comes to some of the words of locations on the Englewood Railway, I'm just reading the name and deciding for myself how it should be pronounced. And this takes us to this special word for one of the main logging roads in the area. You know, there's two ways you could pronounce it. You could use the first syllable with the M-A-R and call it Marcuson, or you could use the first four letters to form the first syllable, and you got Marcuson. 50-50 chance of being right or wrong. Maybe there's a third way. Anyway, as you will find out, I decided to call it Marcuson throughout this video. If I'm wrong and it turns out to be Marcuson, and if it irks you, I suggest you make it into a drinking game. Every time you hear me say Marcuson, have another drink. You'll enjoy the video better. This segment is a drive down to Nimkish Lake, and the location is roughly here on the general map. Here's the detail map, and I'm going right down there, which is the forestry campground. And the interesting thing is, when I'm on the last part of the road descending to the campground area, that is the old railway main from when the railway went to the south end of Nimkish Lake, where the logs would be put onto a barge. And that was before the mid-1950s, when the railway was extended all the way through by land. One of the interesting features along the road is what looks to be a concrete bunker shack type of thing, and that was the commissary storehouse. And so I don't know if it was just where supplies were or money as well, but probably just sort of a supply stores shack. And then also along the lake shore in the campground, I was looking for evidence of old timber pile trestle bents, and I saw some timbers in the lake, but I didn't see anything that looked like an old bent, and I probably did not go down far enough along the shore, along the campground to look. I gave up because it was raining pretty hard. I'm driving down to Nimkish Lake to the forest recreation campsite, and I'm told by my reliable source that when I make the sharp curves to come down to the lake, I will be on what used to be the railway grade. In any case, coming around this corner, I'll eventually be on the old grade area going down to the lake. Then they go up to the top end of Nimkish Lake and be put on rails again at the top end to go to the log dump on the ocean. This used to be the commissary safe shack, bunker, secure thing for storing things. And here I am on the original grade going down to Nimkish Lake for the logging railway. The river is just below me to the left. Water level is high, which means it's going to be tougher for me to find out where the old log car is that's in the lake. So it's basically the first or second camping spot past the boat launch. And there's the remnants of the old trestle fence. Continuing there, wood pilings. Nimkish shops are shown roughly here on the general map. Here's a more detailed map of the area, and the shops are the area that used to be the Nimkish camp. I'm at Nimkish shops, and at Nimkish shops, this is the only remnant of the railway that I can find. Is part of a log bunk. No trucks on it. Just the two bunks. Coming up to the shop line. That's what it looks like now. And there's the going down. This segment of the video is what I'm calling Nimkish Junction. Here's a rough location on the general map, and here's the detail map, and you can see where it is here. I call it, well, it is the junction of the Nimkish Shop Spur and the main line, and this is mile 18.4 at Nimkish. I'm a sucker for punishment. I'm going to go up towards Kinman Creek. See the spot where the main line met the Nimkish Shops Spur. Up here on the right is where there used to be the water tower. Hey, guess what? There's still part of it right there. Okay, not the water tower, water tap, whatever you want to call it. There is the line. That's the main line. So I'm on the logging road, looking northward. Here's the Nimkish Shops spur. Logging road, main line. Is the Shops spur. I'm just going to walk on the main line for a moment, see what it's like. I was curious if it's walkable or if the ballast is too soft. This has been graded pretty good here. So this is like a logging road on the main line right here. No rails. Makes me sad. Okay, so main line, shop spur, and then the logging road in the back. If I kept walking on the main line around the corner a little ways, I would eventually get to the Kinman Creek Bridge. Another dump of ties. Now I'm going to see what it's like on the shop spur. My guess is it'll be softer because it hasn't been used as much by trucks, I guess. Actually pretty darn solid. This isn't bad. This would be okay to walk. Again, looking down towards Kinman Creek. Walking up the shop spur. And here we are, shop spur with the logging road. I'm going to continue on the logging main until I get to Camp A. There's a few spots where the railway grade is really close to this logging road. So I just want to get some more images of what it looks like now. Again, I'm a sucker for sadness. And it is typical Nimkish Valley weather, rain and wind. I just spotted the railway line up on my left. You can't see it right now, but it's something I've always enjoyed about, even when I'm driving on lower Vancouver Island near Nanaimo and anywhere else where the E&N railway is. I always, when I'm driving, like to sort of know where the railway is and just sort of follow it along. Just being aware of its existence. I'm attuned to that kind of a pathfinding and just knowing that it's there. And I wonder how long I'm going to be doing that whenever I visit up here. With every year that passes, the old railway grade becomes more and more just an item on old maps. I wonder if I'm going to be continuing going, the railway is there, was there, as I gradually change it into past tense, which is kind of sad. But that's the way that history goes. Next up is Siding 3, and here's the rough location on the overall map. And looking at a closer view, here's where you can see the south end of Nimkish Lake on the left. Nimkish Camp, otherwise known as Nimkish Shops, is the pink area, and Siding 3 is circled. So here's a closer view with the highway, the Nimkish main logging road that I was on, and the railway. That's where Siding 3 is. This is about mile 19. Coming up here is Siding 3. I only visited here once, and it was the time when the rail removal was happening, and I got to watch the process happening in front of my eyes. So, Siding 3, looking north, The switches would be there and the outhouse just around the corner to the left. This part of the video is the intersection of Nimkish, Maine and Kinman, Maine. Roughly here in this general area of the map. And here's a more detailed area with Highway 19, and you can see the logging mains, and the thin orange line is the railway. This is about mile 19.85 on the railway, and it's listed as Kinman Road Crossing. I just saw some crossbucks still standing. That's an invitation. Looking north, there's the railway line looking south. Again, looking south. This segment follows the Nimkish Main between mile 20.5 and approximately 21.1. General location is here. Here's the detailed map. And the red line is roughly where this segment follows. And so it's an area where the railway is very close to the Nimkish, Maine logging road. This is south of the Kinman crossing. One of the things I noticed was just how the white limestone in the ballast of the railway is what I think is going to be the enduring landmark of the railway grade, because it's so easy to spot. Here's the railway. Railway visible here. See all that limestone in the ballast? Perhaps that's what's going to be the enduring distinguisher between logging road and once was the railway, is traces of that limestone in the ballast. Here's some more. Again, you can just, that limestone in the ballast sure shows up. The railway beside me on the left. The spot where the railway is right beside the logging road. Oh yeah, puddles. Next up, as I follow the Nimkish Main, is this area between mile 21.4 and 22.4. Here's the general map. The detailed map is here, and you can see the red line is the rough part of this segment, and it starts where the railway, the Nimkish Main logging road, and Highway 19 are all very, very close together. So it starts mile 21.4, the Creek Bridge is 21.5, and goes all the way to about 22.4, where the locomotives 302 and 304 were stored in the woods for a few years. Here's Highway 19, and the railway is just up on my left. So all three, logging road, railway, and highway, very close to each other here. Let's cross the creek slowly. Here's the railway bridge. Here's another road to cross the railway. Another opportunity to look left and right. Looking north. Looking south. If I continued there, that's where a whole bunch of log cars and 2 locomotives and a caboose were spotted for a couple years. Between the accident and the removal of the railway. Okay, we'll say a few years. This is what it looks like crossing the railway. And back down to the logging main. Working our way down towards Camp A. This is the spot where the 302 and 304 diesel locomotives were parked for a few years. Just over this little culvert. Caboose. And there are the 2 locomotives in the woods. And then they were towed by a maintenance machine a short distance from here to Camp A because the prime mover wouldn't work. This segment is the Nimkish Main, just north of Camp A. Here's the rough area. Here's the detailed map here. And I'm about right here at that level crossing. The level crossing is mile 22.7, and on the chart it's WE-3 crossing. Some more railway signage that endures. The W sign for whistle. A note that you're coming to Camp A. And a crossing. Just before Camp A, here's another look at what the railway grade looks like. Looking north. And looking south. Okay, approaching Camp A and the double bridges. Okay, so the logging road main crosses the railway here. Here's a detailed map of the area showing where Highway 19 is, the main line, which is the thin orange line, and here's the whole area of Camp A. Actually, there's the logging road main right here. Sorry, that's the railway right there. There are the double bridges. There's the highway. Here's a sad and lonely Camp A. The sad line of equipment, rolling stock that I saw yesterday. I visited here at dawn, got up close. trucks everywhere. Or wheels. I'm not sure if when it's just this, it's just wheels. Whatever, they look like an army of droids waiting to be revived. The next part of this video is at Steel Creek, which is located roughly here. Here's a detailed map of the area, and this is just south of where the Zabalos Road branches off from the Island Highway. The bridge at Steel Creek was a dual-use bridge, logging trucks and the railway, and so the rails are kept on the bridge because they're part of the structural integrity of the bridge. That's what my assumption is. And so it's kind of odd where you can see the rails with a really broad Jordan rail on as well. You'll see what I mean with the video. The Steel Creek Bridge is at mile 24.1 on the railway and is also on the Marcuson Main logging road. I can just imagine the puns, the jokes, when the Steel Creek Bridge was renovated and went from being a wooden bridge to a steel bridge. Let's see what Steel Creek Bridge is like. It's dual trucks. And rail. Rail just continues. No rail. I still call it the railway. There's the grade there. I like this bridge. The Jordan rail is actually pretty darn wide, so it's nice for your vehicle tire. The next part of the video is my visit to Siding 4, which is roughly located here on the map. Now here's a detailed map of the area showing the Island Highway, the railway in thin orange line. Here's the location of the siding, and it's on the Marcuson Main at about mile 29. I'm on my way to Siding 4. And of all the little roads that lead to places where Englewood rolling stock has been stored, this road I think might be my favorite. I just love that kind of Sleepy Hollow, trees covering the road from above. Yeah, like this. So why am I doing this? I'm going down to Siding 4 because there are a few pieces of rolling stock that were isolated and stored here, presumably because they were going to be sold. Now, one of the items was a yellow caboose. And from my view on the highway a couple days ago, I couldn't see the caboose, and so my presumption is that it's gone. So perhaps it has been sold and removed. So all that should be left here, besides a pile of ties and rails, perhaps, are two water tank cars, or maybe they were fuel tank cars, And I think there's one flatbed car on a very short stretch of remaining rail. Here's the crossing. Yeah, siding 4. Way down there. So no more caboose. And looking north. So a lot of this scrap has been cleaned up and moved away, presumably down to Campbell River, and then barged off to who knows where. Oh my, that's not good. Tank has just knocked off the tank car. Is that done on purpose? Or done by idiots? Looking south, siding 4. Looking north. Okay, so the trucks and frame of the tank cars were scrapped, and I guess the tanks will get scrapped at a later time. This next segment of the video is at Woss, located roughly here on the map. Here's a detailed map of the village of Woss. And I started on Englewood Drive, and I stopped at the level crossing of the old main line, now removed, and the crossing is paved over. My next stop was on Railway Avenue, where the number 113 steam locomotive is on outdoor display in the rain, and soon, hopefully, the number 303 yellow diesel locomotive will also be on display, and perhaps the log car as well. After that, I continued on the Nimkish Main South and crossed a couple parts of the railway. One was the deactivated main line, and then I continued further up and crossed the deactivated H line, which is the line that went up to the Woss reload. I'm on Englewood Drive in Woss. My, oh my, there is a lot of rain coming down. Here's the level crossing, now paved. Looking south, junction to the Woss reload, and looking north. Okay, let's go down the hill and see the old rail yard, which is just dirt, and we'll see the 113 steam locomotive in the rain. Crossing the rail line. Here's the company's Heritage Park. Here's some new rail here, and some ties for some more rail, and I believe this will be the 303 locomotive and maybe a log car and maybe a caboose. Here's some rail right here, all ready to go for that, for whenever it happens. And the 113. I'm on the Woss Shop Road, and I just want to see what it looks like with the main line of the railway crossing and going down to Groves Creek. Here's the main line of Englewood. Heading down there, going north, where it would approach the junction for the Woss Spur. And there it is, heading south to Groves Creek Bridge. And that metal box is the old water reservoir for the Groves Creek Bridge for fire control. It's the accident site down there. And the People's and Friends and Families Memorial area. Here's where the Woss Reload line, otherwise known I think as the H line, crosses the shop road. Perfectly straight, locked on. My main source of knowledge of the Englewood Railway, besides my own experience of seeing it for myself in the post-operational period, is the fine book Last of the Railway Loggers by Sandy Macham and Maynard Atkinson. I'd also like to thank Mr. Atkinson for his kind provision of some documents that show the mileage markers of various landmarks along the railway. I will leave you with this little bit of trivia. The name Englewood is a combination of the names Mr. Wood and Mr. English, who had the Wooden English logging railway near Beaver Cove, Nimkish Lake area. If I keep talking about it, I'll get a whole bunch of facts wrong. That's about as much as I know. Mr. Wood, Mr. English. Wood English? Oh, let's flip it around. Englewood.